So if someone hyper focuses on a niche market, you're going to get more attention for that one thing from that market. And it didn't sink in until I did do the split, just how vital having a brand identity is. That's the only way you're going to grow your business. And if you're not growing, you're in slow motion liquidation. Ooh. It's one of my mantras.
This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life.
What's up, everybody? My name's Jaysin.
I'm Hilda.
And together we are EO7 Media. This is Coffee and Cameras.
Ooh, ding, 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 ding.
You changed the word? It was clink.
I feel like a ding today. I'm sorry.
You look like a ding today.
I know, don't I?
Well, today we are going to be talking about a specific subject and something that's near and dear to our heart, something that we've actually been dealing with a lot of on our own time, is we're going to be talking about managing your brand through growth of your business and how and when to rebrand. So let's jump into branding, as this is something that's really near and dear to us. Not only do we help other businesses along these lines, but we also are going through this constantly in our own business. So let's discuss some important aspects of branding. And we're not going to go down a path of like educating someone on branding.
No.
But I think to understand what we're talking about and the necessity, like the important aspects of knowing what your brand is and how to market it,
Yes.
you do need to know some of the basics.
Yes. So you're going to talk about what you did with Night Owls, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. So in 2010, I started a business called NightOwls Media. And I thought using a name like NightOwls Media that has a backstory to it, because when I was in college, I paid my own way in grad school, and school was very expensive. So my mindset was I was going to soak up every single second of time, every single opportunity that I could get to justify the amount of money that I was spending. And I got really into editing, and I would stay in Hamilton Hall, which was the film department building, until 3 or 4 o'clock every single night.
Wow.
And when the dean of film would come around and do little... What are they called when you show people off something?
You show people off something?
You know, what's, oh my God, please cut this out. This is awful. A tour.
A tour. Oh my God.
So when the dean of the school would come around and give a tour to new potential students, he would always say, and this is the Night Owl of Hamilton Hall. And I would just like raise a hand and then just go back to work.
That's so funny.
But I got known as being like the last person out of there for like at least a year. So when I started my own business, I wanted something that was very personal, but not my name. And I think it's really important, at least in my mindset, to not have my name attached to my business.
Why?
Two things. If I ever sell the business, then I'm not affiliated with it anymore. And if that name continues on, then it's just a brand and it's not me.
Yeah.
And then they aren't getting me, which brings me to my second thing is eventually I wanted to grow the business. And my mindset is if your business is named after a person, I should be working with that person.
100%. Yep.
I think it's silly because, you have companies like Sears and, Fannie Mae, and, you go into all these stores and stuff, and Walgreens, which was, named after Wall and whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's my mindset is if...
I mean, that's why I didn't use my name for the same reason, in case I wanted to sell it, but I'm not a big fan of my own name. So.
Which I don't get. I love your name. Your name is like so battle ready and historical.
Stop. Okay, we're not going to talk about my name.
Get the fuck out. It's so cool.
Anyway,
so we came up with NightOwls Media. I put the S in there because I wanted to grow. I wanted to have more than just myself.
Right.
And I thought everyone could be a night owl. Okay. And as it grew, I always had the focus of wanting to do a plethora of different things. That's why I called myself Media, NightOwls Media versus Night Owls Films or anything like that. Is I wanted to do way more than just video.
Gotcha.
And as it progressed, I started getting a name for myself for athletics and weddings. And what happens is when you do a wedding type of work, like wedding videography, wedding photography, whatever, and you want to do corporate work as well, more times than not, a corporate client will look at you and say, "Oh, you do weddings."
Immediately it's out. I know. I had the same feedback. It's like, even though I have a separate thing for, portraits or headshots, it's like, I feel like it's somehow discounted for some reason that, they do weddings too, which I think that weddings actually taught me how to be a better photographer, because
Wholeheartedly.
you have to
Yes.
be on your toes. Like, you have to just fly by the seat of your pants and do whatever comes your way and manage it,
Yeah.
which makes you a better person. And
Totally.
So-
I mean, a better business owner, a better artist, a better everything.
Right. But at the same time, I could see how like a marketing person would look at and see like the first thing that pops up is weddings. They're like, oh yeah, they do weddings. And
Yeah, right.
That's why you decided to branch off.
And that's well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
But early on in my career, I had a dentist reach out to me, and I have talked about this.
Oh yes,
off and on.
the famous dentist
The
story.
famous dentist story. And I actually I use this as like the dentist theory now. The dentist, quorum is a dentist reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want some dentist videos made for our office." And I
Right.
said, "That's great. I can definitely do this." And he said, "Well, can you show me your dentist videos?" And I said, "Well, I've never worked with a dentist, but I have worked with medical. I have worked with lots of other things." And they go, "But no dentists?" And they actually wrote back to me and said, "If you don't know how to make dentist videos, you don't, we can't use you." And I wrote back, I was a little snippy.
Yeah.
And I was like, a video is a video, but no, the person who knows how to make it is what's going to make it different.
Right.
Because I'm going to understand your brand. I'm going to understand where you're going with your brand, and I'm going to understand your target audience. I'm not just going to make you a video and be done.
Yeah.
We're going to make it together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you something that actually speaks to what you need.
I wonder why he thought that. Like, did he think that since you don't know about teeth per se, that
Well, I mean, it's blinders.
Yeah.
It's absolutely blinders. And like I said, I call it the dentist theory now, that if you can't do exactly if you haven't already shown to do exactly what I need,
Yep.
why would I hire you to do something that I need? It's like, well, because we can pivot, because we can change, we can alterate what you need to be done.
Exactly.
But so many people have that mindset. So when I started doing weddings, I got invited to do some shows, like craft shows and things.
Okay.
And I thought, that'd be interesting, because not a lot of videographers are going to be at craft shows.
Okay.
So I would sit up there and I'd show them my videos, and people would walk by and go, "Oh, well, we don't need weddings." And I'm like, "Well, do you have kids? Do you have family get-togethers? Do you have a business? Do you know someone who has a business?" They're like, "Oh, no, but we don't have anyone getting married." I'm like, literally, they only look at what you do, which is one of the reasons why you and I are so adamant about doing spec work right now, because we want to do stuff that actually we want to show what
Yes.
we want to do.
Yes.
So this weighed on me a long time, and I got a lot of weddings, but I wanted to do commercials. I wanted to do something that helped businesses.
Right.
And I don't know, something about 2015, 2016, something clicked in my head, and I was like, I really want to help other people, not just make a wedding. And I'm not talking down about weddings.
Oh,
Weddings
God, no.
Weddings
No.
are amazing to
Yeah,
do.
we love weddings.
But I wanted to help a business. I wanted to help someone grow and really they love what they're doing so much
Right.
that they're putting everything on the line.
Right.
I wanted to help the world see that passion.
Right.
So it started to come into fruition about 2017 was, number one, no one can spell our business name. They always forget the S in the middle. So a company in Africa used to send us emails quite a bit, because NightOwls Media was an African company at the time.
Yeah, I can relate. I have
You do. You have quite a few.
I have Illinois photographers that are called Angel Eye or Angel's Eye.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. That's
I know it's like very, so I
Which-
copyrighted the name, but I'm not going to start suing. And there's one in Australia, one in South Carolina who I just got an inquiry from. It's like, "Oh, you did so-and-so." And then she saw my signature and she looked at my website. She's like, "Oh, it looks like you're in Chicago." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am." Yeah. So
But I mean, that's one of the advantages of having a name. Like if you name your business, like let's say you did Hilda Burke Photography, you'd be the only one. So that would be
Maybe. Yeah. True.
a check mark in that lane.
Yes.
But so we started getting, I wasn't getting half my inquiries because people couldn't spell our name. And a lot of people thought we did horror films because the word night was in our name.
Wow.
Like literally, like too many people were like, well, we heard you do weddings, but we saw your name and there's an owl in the logo. So you probably do horror films.
What?
And I was like, well, I'd like to, but
Wow.
definitely not what I do for work.
Oh my God. That's funny.
So about 2017, it came into my mind that's like, okay, I need to differentiate. And what this harks back to is I worked at Tower Records for about 3 years. And I worked there right before and during the downfall of Tower Records. And
Okay.
anyone who doesn't know what Tower Records is, it's
Yeah,
one of
tell
the
us.
greatest book/movie/record store there ever was in the world.
What, 90s, 80s, 2000s? What are we
So
talking
I
about?
think it was like late 70s is when it came
When
into
they started,
fruition.
yeah.
And then it got giant in the 80s and 90s. And it became like the place to go if you were into whatever it is. Like if
Yeah.
you're into rap, you got to go to Tower Records because
Okay.
the rap selection was awesome.
Okay.
Oh, you're into techno, you got to go to Tower Records.
Gotcha.
Then it became like the movie place to go and yada, yada. So it was the coolest job I've ever had.
Okay.
Worst pain, but absolutely the most fun job I've ever had. But as it started to lose money, we would get these like monthly mailer notifications for all the employees. It's like, hey, make sure you're upselling, make sure you're pushing sales and blah, blah. And I never really liked that mentality. I saw that again when I worked with Hollywood Video, is they really pushed dumb advertising things, trying to make more money.
Right.
And when I was at Tower, they started to differentiate their sales. And this is something I think every single business needs to understand, no matter what type of line of work you're in, that you provide something amazing, right? Like what do we always say when we make a video business card for someone? We say, who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it better than everybody else? What differentiates you
Right.
from this other person in the market doing the same thing?
Right.
And Tower Records was the cool place to go, whether you were into books, movies, music.
I didn't even know they had books, to be
Well,
honest.
it was kind of weird. I think it started off that way. No, it started off with music. Sorry.
Okay.
But it was like the cool place to go.
Yeah,
Right. And
gotcha.
like just like Facebook was the cool place to go.
Yeah.
And then they started changing it. And then it got weird. It got differentiated in the wrong way.
What happened at Tower Records?
So Tower Records started losing money. And to gain more money, they threw money at what was cool, like toys. Everyone's buying toys. So they stocked half the store with toys and movie posters and stuff like that, where it's like, it's kind of an offshoot of what Tower Records was, but it wasn't really what made them them.
Gotcha.
And I think once you start going down that road of over sampling, like giving so much variety, then you stop being the brand. Like, sure, it's Tower Records, but now you go in there and go, I don't want to buy toys. It's like, well, that's not Tower Records' brand. It is because that's what you're pushing. And if literally half your store is toys and stuff you just tchotchkes and stuff you're just going to throw away.
Yeah.
Like you're literally changing your brand then. You're changing your brand identity with your audience. And you can try to make your own brand identity as much as you want, but what it comes down to is how you are seen by your audience.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to offer so much that I diluted my brand identity to my audience.
Yep.
And not only with the corporate stuff saying, oh, you do weddings, we don't want to work with you,
Yep.
but if I offered too much, then what was I really good at?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So about 2018, I started really putting down pen to paper and saying, I need to split this business into two businesses. I like doing weddings and I like doing commercial work. So I need to split the business into two. And then, work takes over. I'm like, I wish I could have done it then.
Yep.
But 2019 started and I got swamped with work in 2019. And knock on wood, thank you for whatever cosmic element did that because that got me ready for 2020, where work literally just stopped.
Yeah, we know why.
Yeah. So 2020, my wife said, isn't it time to start differentiating? So what we did was we rebranded, and we'll get into that more later on, but rebranding, I feel like I'm talking way too much.
But that's okay.
I'm so
no.
sorry.
And I remember talking with you like on Messenger and Snapchat about this, because like we're both stuck at home with, the COVID stuff. And it was like a lot of, where do we go? How do we manage this? What do we do?
Yeah.
It was a lot of panic and research and refocusing. And I know a lot of my colleagues also pivoted, like one of the biggest names in wedding business, like now she does like real estate, like actual like architecture photography and real estate photography. So I was also like, I was also panicking, wondering what am I going to do? And what's weird is that my headshots and my boudoir picked up during COVID because everybody's redoing their resume, and then they would still come in for like, obviously not the volume I used to do. So then I kind of started thinking about like, how do I pivot? What do I do? So then I started focusing more on what was in demand at the time, which is everybody's revamping their portfolio, rethinking, their lives and stuff. So I just said, great. It's like headshots were keeping me afloat. That's what was paying the rent for me during COVID was headshots. It was unbelievable, more than ever.
How did you advertise it?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. I was like struggling to figure out what to even post, but it's like, but everybody knew I did headshots. So they just reached out to me, or they reached out to me knowing that I did photography. They're like, hey, do you know anybody who does headshots? I'm like, I do. So yeah.
Thinking about it now, talking to yourself 4 years after, what would you have done differently? How would you have pivoted your advertising, your marketing to adjust for that to get even more?
Well, I should have been more proactive and not just relied on weddings alone, because that was like a huge bulk of my business for over a decade, because I started with little kids and families and babies and stuff, and then weddings kind of took over, and that was my strength, and that's, to be honest, that's where majority of my money was coming from. And then I realized that I didn't want to wait 3 hours for a baby to fall asleep, because I don't have that kind of patience, so I rather deal with drunk groomsmen, I decided, than deal with crying babies. So I pushed weddings full steam ahead. But I didn't think, like, who could have predicted, that COVID?
Well,
nobody.
Right,
so
right.
I didn't have a good plan B, to be honest. I just figured weddings are going to go forever, So kind of because of my luck, and because I feel like I built a good bond with my clientele. So I feel that people reach out to me for questions all the time. What kind of camera do I buy? Can you recommend this or that? So I feel like I was taken care of by my clients almost, because they reached out to me asking, how do I find a headshot photographer? I'm like, I do that. So then I kind of started clicking. I'm like, maybe I should start promoting this a little more, because this is what's going to make the money. So just for the fact that I just started posting the headshots that I was starting to shoot during, and I always did headshots. I just wasn't posting it or pushing it, because I thought,
marketing it.
like headshots are like, what's the big deal? It's just a headshot. But when it's a good headshot and people need it, and they're looking for it, then it's more than just a headshot. It's like, this is your way into this new company, and this is it's on your resume. Can you imagine getting a resume with somebody's photos on it? I mean, that would be like
I can't
so
imagine
much more impressive.
Not getting one. Like it's become standard.
Yes, but back then it wasn't like that big of a deal, So it is as it is now. So yeah.
So you had an amazing journey, but you never rebranded.
No.
How come?
I guess because by 2020, I already was 15 years into the business, and I was pretty well known as Angel Eyes Photography.
That was my biggest worry.
So that's why I still think about starting like another, like I own the name hildaburke.com, and I'm thinking about doing something, despite the fact that we just talked about how the names thing isn't, whatever.
Right.
So I'm kind of maybe thinking about it, but when you and I decided to go into business together with EO7 Media, to me that was like sort of my rebranding. So I still do just like very little, like advertising when it comes to headshots because it's part of my Angel Eyes photography brand. But the whole corporate side, I kind of just like let EO7 handle it.
Right.
So if you want to talk about that, I think
Yeah,
that
I
would
totally
be-
can. And it didn't make sense to me about like the rebranding until I started looking at YouTube pages. And I'm the worst offender at this, by the way, is because I put everything on one YouTube page. I put gear testimonials. I put, gear reviews. I put, this is how I do stuff in video editing.
So looking at YouTube.
So looking at YouTube actually made me think I need to diversify my business into different brands.
Okay.
So when I go into a YouTube page, I would say like, oh, I love watching this guy's Skyrim videos.
Right.
But he does other videos too? Well, I'm not interested in that. I only want to watch the Skyrim videos.
Okay.
So if someone hyper focuses on a niche market, you're going to get more attention for that one thing from that market.
Okay.
So I decided to split Night Owls into two separate businesses. One focusing on personal and one focusing on B2B. So basically B2C, which is business to consumer, or B2B, which is business to business.
Yep.
Business to consumer is like, hey, we do weddings. The final product is in your hand. You are happy. You have it.
Gotcha.
B2B is we are creating a product for a business for them to use and utilize to bring in more money, to utilize whatever they need, whether it's be marketing or anything. So I wanted to have a different mentality doing those two businesses, and it didn't sink in until I did do the split just how vital having a brand identity is. I always thought like a brand identity would be like, well, it's me. It's what I do. You guys know me. We're fine. It's not. It's so many different layers to that. I'm not going to get into that because it's like a waterfall of
You
information.
want to talk about how you narrowed down your logos? Because that was an experience.
It was really fun. So the first company I did was I named EO7 right away. I was like, I want to do EO7.
Why did you call it EO7?
It's a mystery for the ages.
Okay, we're not going to talk about
I'm
that.
never going to reveal it. It is a very personal thing. It's not giantly important, but I don't think having the backstory of a name is wildly important.
Okay, but like what do you tell people? Like the 24/7 or something?
Yeah. So EO7 can be translated into a myriad of different things because that's what we do for our partners.
Okay.
We are adaptable and we change depending on what you need.
Okay.
So just because you're a dentist.
Back to the dentist.
Yeah. So you can use any word for E, any word for O, and then 7 is the celestial, holy, perfect number of mythos and lore, right?
I thought it was that we work 7 days a week because we own
we do
businesses.
anyway. But I mean, that's where like the core is. It is the perfection of the business.
Gotcha.
So like one of my easiest things to remember is we take every opportunity 7 days a week.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, of course not. But it's like we can adapt. We can change. And I have a Google Doc with hundreds of words
of
that
what
we can,
EO7 stands for.
we can swap it
That's
back
fine.
and forth anytime.
By the way, this is our logo.
Yeah.
Show off your logo.
So what we did was we created EO7 first and then put it immediately on the back burner.
Okay.
Because COVID happened.
Yep.
And businesses were not looking to spend more money. But weddings were not stopping, irregardless of places shutting down. So we went full steam into For Love Films. I chose the name because I wanted something iconic. You instantly know what we do when I say the name, and you can spell it.
That's pretty easy, yes. And it's not. It doesn't say For Love Weddings. It says For Love Films.
That's
so
it.
That you could do like baptisms, and you could
that was
do.
it. That was the personal side. So we could do anything we did for love.
Aw.
And that's like, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but that was the mentality of it.
No, I love that.
We do this for love. No matter if it's a family event, weddings, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what we tried to brand it as. We branded it as a very personal, intimate type of brand.
Yeah.
So as soon as that brand was concrete, I was like, oh, I know how to market this. I know who to market this to.
Yep.
I'm not trying to shotgun a marketing scheme to businesses, small businesses, large businesses, weddings. Like I literally have what this is.
Do you remember when you messaged me with all the logo options
Yes.
you had?
So a very good friend of mine and our logo designer to this day, she designed a bunch of logos for us. And I think you and my wife were the first two people I reached out to. I'm like, which one is good?
Yep.
And I had my feelings on one. I think we had like 8 total.
Yep.
And I loved one of them. I was
Yes,
like, this
you
one
did.
is so good.
Yes, you did.
And then because of you, because of working with you, you taught me you are not your audience. What you like often does not matter. So I did my very first marketing analysis. We reached out, not my brides. We reached out to all of your high-end brides who immediately, I think we made a list of like 7 or 10 questions.
Yep.
And then we showed all 8 logos to.
Yep. And asking about how this logo makes you feel. What does it say? Like all these questions that, marketing people would ask, but we asked very basic ones like, why do you like this? Or the colors and all that. So, and they chose literally the last one that you didn't think they would
chose
choose.
the one I did not like.
Yeah.
And everyone, it was unanimous.
That's crazy.
I mean, how often
That's
do
the
you
one
get
I
that?
liked, by the way.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure it's the one Andy liked too.
And truth be told, it grew on me almost immediately because I started to see their points to it.
Because they commented on why they like it.
Yes. And I think asking your target audience, especially people you don't know who have a stake in the game,
Right.
asking them these questions is beyond vital.
Because I think if you asked your previous brides, they would be more careful about how they answered, and that's why we didn't end up going down that road. Because like a stranger, to you is not going to be like they don't care if they hurt your feelings because they don't know you.
They don't know you.
But somebody you worked with and had even a professional relationship with, they would probably be very gentle about what they tell you, and I don't
100%.
think they would be honest. Yeah.
No, and I don't think they would. Even if they feel like they're being honest. The emotional connection would
right.
twist
And just to be clear, the whole market research, like we didn't have money to go hire or no. Like the market research was like, hey, how many people do I know? What falls in the category of your ideal clientele? Right. And I started sending you names, and then I started reaching out to them saying, is it okay if we contact you for a survey? And the survey was free, if I remember correctly. You did one of these like online things.
It was a Google form.
Exactly. Yeah. So we just sent them the link, and everybody it wasn't too long, right? So that was the other key.
I think it was only 8 pages. And each page
and
was like 10 questions. It was
10
really
minutes,
quick. It was
20
really
minutes
quick.
to answer. Yeah. So
and that's all because of you. That's all thanks to you. Because you actually suggested, maybe I should reach out to these people. And I was like, I don't want to bother anybody.
You never want to bother anybody. I will bother people until they let me. Yeah.
Bother people.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And people love helping.
People love,
even strangers.
People
like they
love giving their opinions.
That's what I mean. They love giving their opinions. Yes, 100%.
I do.
I do too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that was one of the biggest deciding things. So I did the same thing again when we went to EO7. Oh, sorry. Before I fix that.
Wait a minute. You did? I thought you
did.
You asked around? I thought you made all your decisions by yourself for EO7.
I heavily, but we didn't have 8. We had 3.
Okay.
We had 3 logos.
Okay. Who did you reach out to for that?
I reached out to people in the graphic design community, like old comic book friends.
Oh.
I didn't want other video people involved.
Right.
I didn't want previous clients involved.
Right.
Because I wanted something, a fresh take. And I wanted, when we had 3 final logos that it was down to. Truth be told, I was 100% in line with this one. That's why that's why I always say, I actually drew this on a note card.
And you sent it to your designer?
I drew it on a note card and I just kept drawing it over and over. And I was like, something about this. Literally EO7 makes a camera. It's so obviously right there. And my designer took it and she drafted up a couple more. And I didn't really like the other 2, But then I thought about For Love Films. It's like, it's not my decision. Just because I love this doesn't mean everyone else will.
Yep.
When this came back from all my designer friends, from all my comic book friends, from all my people who like understand what design is, and that's what I wanted for this one.
Oh.
Because we were going to be speaking to businesses, not the instantaneous, like, how does this make you feel kind of logo. I wanted something that when the business saw it, because if you own a business, chances are you're a little crafty about business.
True.
That means if you work with someone else, you want someone who put some time and effort and thought into their business rather than the knee-jerk reaction of, I like it.
True.
And I'm not talking down to the first group.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, please.
The whole I like it thing is how I picked my logo for Angel Eyes.
That sounds exactly right.
Because that's and honest. No, I couldn't decide. Actually, I'm lying. No, I messaged my friend Diana, and she's like, pick this one. It looks more professional. I'm like, great, that's the one I love. So it literally survey of one.
So, well, we're going to get back to you because I have
which is
questions.
not the way I recommend
Not
it.
the way
No.
to do it. So after I got back the answers from my group, it was unanimous.
Wow.
It was, again, this logo.
Really?
And I thought, I'm more in tune with this brand and the identity of the audience than I am with the For Love Films.
Yep.
So everything clicked. I told my designer this one, and she goes, good, because I was going to fire you if you didn't pick this one.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she goes, I hated the other two, but you needed some differentiators in there. This is the one that is going to make it. So immediately, as soon as I made the logo up, I sent her shirts, like right away. Like before we even had any, I sent her stuff.
You're hysterical.
And that's when it really dawned on me, holy crap, we have a logo. A logo is not a brand.
A logo is not a brand.
And we'll get into it right after this. So when we split Night Owls into EO7 and For Love Films, like how you're like nodding, you're like, yeah. Not only did we have to, do the logos, do the websites, but then we had to really focus on our brand identities. And again, our brand identities are not the logo.
Yep.
So I had to really think of different mentalities, different ways of speech, different ways of presenting our businesses to our market. And that's what it all came down to, is how do you market these businesses specifically for that brand?
Because the way you talk to a potential bride and the way you talk to a potential business person is a whole different ballgame. And how did you do that?
I mean, God, we're still doing it.
True.
We're still working on it. We're still trying to.
What do you think is the most important thing when it comes to how?
You are not your audience. I think that's what it really boils down to, is just because you think something is, like whenever we ask a business, like when we sit down with a business and we say, who's your target market?
Yep.
They can kind of give us an answer. They may think they're right. Their chances are they're not.
Because
they don't know their target market. Unless they've done the research, unless they've really dug in and asked every single customer they've ever had and dive into these massive amount of questions about their brand identity. There's so much more to your target market than we think there is.
Can I say a little sidebar here?
Please.
The fact that we are friends with a very high-end marketing person and a very smart, knowledgeable, I don't even know how to describe her. Love you, girl. It makes me understand how little I actually know about the whole marketing aspect. So, yeah. But you can hit the highlights.
So I would love to say we know what we're talking about fully, but you're right.
We can only speak from our own personal
We can speak from our
Yes.
experience, and you and I can speak very highly when it comes to video or photo usage in that marketing
That
mix.
is correct.
But there's epic amounts of layers
Yes.
on top of that. So once you truly understand who your brand audience is, your persona, your buyer persona. Once you understand who your buyer persona is, then you can start marketing everything toward that buyer persona. And then
how
it
did
becomes
you do it?
easy. Literally, we're working on this because we're looking through the clients that we've had, that we loved working with, the clients that we want to work with in the future. We're working with our ideal dream client, and we're working with the clients that constantly find us. And it's kind of like an amalgamation but we want to make sure that we're taking care of our clients above everything else. And I will, like, so many companies, so many businesses out there saying customer experience is the key thing. Well, yeah, of course it is. Like, if that's news to you, maybe you shouldn't be in business, but it really is. And I think
That's right.
almost every business needs to take a second and go, oh, the money will come. That's lower on the list. But the customer experience, taking care of that customer from start, like way before they even talk to you. Your website is part of the customer experience. Your marketing is part of the customer experience. After you're done working with that client, and how you present yourself after you're done working with them is still part of the customer experience.
Yeah. I remember you specifically saying this to me, and it was like a ton of bricks, and I'm still not good at it, I will admit. But you said, why would anybody take longer than 24 hours to answer an email? And I was like, because, and I couldn't have a good answer. But it's like, everybody is like right now. And it's
Right.
like emails come in your pocket and you could be like, ding, and answer it. I see you answering emails as you're like walking through the house from one room to the other.
On our break, I checked my emails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like you're immediately replying. That's really great customer service. It's like that right there's the perfect example. So, and once I started sort of emulating that, people are like, oh, thanks for your speedy reply. Thank you so
Right.
much for replying. So I'm like, oh yeah. So I am not good at it. I apologize. But yeah, that's a great goal.
But the companies that do like 72 hours, they'll send you an email afterwards and they'll say like, expect an answer in 48 to 72 hours. I no longer care whatever problem that is, that problem better be huge for me still to care in three days.
But it works for some people. Like I think I know who you're talking about because I get that reply as well from a certain company. And it's like, but if I see your point though. Yeah, it's like you don't want to give him an excuse to go somewhere else, basically.
That's what it is. And if I have to wait 3 days, like again, it had
You're
better be a
over it.
huge
Yeah.
thing. I'm savvy enough to use the internet and find an answer or a workaround to it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a service. Like if I need a service, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. If people are reaching out, odds are they want to talk to you like right now, not 3 days from now.
Bingo.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Bingo. Perfect example. So once you understand your customer experience, then you can better fine tune your marketing to match that customer experience. We have our buyer personas, and everything we put out, we are trying to speak to those personas. Whether it be an Instagram post or a YouTube post or anything in between, we are trying to help, educate, but most of all, provide value. We are trying to lighten someone's day.
Yep.
In some shape or form.
Yeah.
And we're mostly targeted toward business people or other creatives in our field. Our YouTube channel is mostly based up of other creatives, whether it be video or photo.
You're right.
And our Instagram is mostly small businesses. So it's how you push this out there and how you fine tune that marketing. And once you understand the buyer persona, then you can target to that buyer persona. But then it becomes easy. One of the things that you and I always talk about is like, what do we post? What do we make? It's like, well, we know who we're talking to. What's their worries? Then we feed it to them. And I think once you have that in place, you have a concept of what you do and what you offer. But how do you grow your business from there, which is what this whole thing is about. You have a business, you have rebranded your business to focus on the right audience you're wanting to, but how do you grow? And at least in my experience, my knowledge, the only way I feel our business can grow is if we have set goals.
Okay.
And our marketing friend told us there is a giant difference between goals and dreams.
And what is that?
So a dream is something you want to aspire to.
Give us an example.
Like, I would love a bigger house.
Okay.
I want to make lots of money. I want many clients.
That's a dream.
These are dreams.
Okay.
The difference between a dream and a goal is really easily defined as, is it something that you want, or is it an exact number, an exact thing to quantify your dreams as. For instance, you want a bigger house? Cool. I want a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs on an acre of land in 2 years.
That's a goal.
That's a goal. You're giving yourself the exact thing you want, and that's what you judge it by. The time frame. And I think that's really important because I could want 1,000 customers.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I want 1,000 customers in 2 years.
Gotcha.
Now you start working for it. Okay. And then you can break that goal down into months and stuff and make it a little more obtainable.
Makes sense.
So when we started creating our goals, we had very specific mindsets and very specific numbers and very specific like levels.
Yeah.
And we did it. You and I sat down and we mapped this out. We did a 1-year goal, 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year.
Yep.
Our 10-year is still kind of like
Well,
misty.
yeah. I mean, yeah. And I have to be honest, I fought that kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I hate like paperwork and charts and numbers and like all the things that are necessary because I'm just like, I want to have fun and I want to create and I want to interact with people and I want to go to parties and all this. Yes, that's great. If you have a dream, that's great.
Right.
However, I still need to pay the bills. And that's where you're like, okay, well, you need some goals to pay those bills. So I'm on board with that as much as I don't like it. I know it's like, so I think that's why I feel so honored and privileged that we're business partners because you're really good at the numbers and the goals and stuff, you know? So I'm like, cool, I'll help you with that, you know, but just don't make me look at charts or numbers.
I like the charts. I like the high schedule.
Yeah.
You
And
like the let's go party.
Exactly. And I guess that's something that hopefully like a good takeaway from this is to find somebody that can help you with your weaknesses when it comes to your business.
Yes.
Like, you know, like me and my husband were very opposite people, you know, but he's like super calm and easygoing and I'm crazy. So he calls it the I'm the steering wheel in the car and he's the brake. No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
He's the gas. We're driving the car. We're both driving the car. I'm the gas and he's the brake, you know.
Okay,
so it's
that
like
makes more sense,
you need
yeah.
both. Yeah, exactly. So I guess the joke is like nobody's driving the stupid car because we're
No,
just
but I mean that
focused-
actually makes a
Exactly.
wild amount of sense.
Exactly. So
because
like
you can't do one without the other.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people who run their own businesses as like a one-person business, it's a huge struggle because, you know, you have, you know, strengths and weaknesses. So it's like reach out to somebody who has the strengths that you don't have.
Right.
And even if you don't become business partners, you could still help each other.
You can still feed off each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
That's why I think like networking groups are so great.
Yeah.
And even like before like networking groups, you and I would just sit down and hash things out business wise. And then we were like, oh, why don't we just do this together?
Yep.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to
Yep.
keep it apart.
Yep.
Especially when we feed off each other's pros and cons.
Exactly.
You know? Like I'm not good with people. I'm okay.
Which is surprising.
surprising.
I like,
Yeah, I
especially people who watch your channel. Like,
I know.
He's actually better on camera than in person, which is really freaking weird.
I actually think I'm better in person than I am. Like I'm better like sitting down with someone. But
Okay.
if I have a business meeting, I want to get to the point. I'm there for a reason. You're there for a reason. I don't want the chit chat. And it's not that I don't want it.
You have to have the chit
No,
chat.
I agree.
Yeah.
You and I talked about this. I
Yeah.
totally agree. You have to be a human being.
Yeah. But when you go in there with a
That's it.
business mindset,
That's
you're
it.
like, let's get to the charts.
Right.
And I'm like, no.
Well, because I think I'm excited.
I know.
Like, because I know whatever I'm bringing to the table is going to help them.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be excited by it.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, it's like, let's get rid of the trailers before the movie
No.
and just get to the movie.
No. You don't know how to relate to them unless you get to know them first.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're dead on. That's what we're talking about with the marketing. Once you understand your persona, then you can sell to them better.
Yep.
You can. It's not sell. I'm sorry. I will take that back 100%. It is not better selling to them. It is better providing a fix, a solution. It's better providing a solution to their problem.
Yes, that's what selling is
Bingo.
providing a solution to the problem, 100%.
Because you and I both have the same mentality. Like, yes, we need money to keep the doors open so we can offer our business to more people. Like, that's our mentality.
Yeah.
So we have to charge for what we do. But so many times we just like doing the non-paid stuff.
Yes. I've done many of those, and they've been my favorite projects.
Because it feeds our creativity and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
So I think having dreams for a business is fantastic. I think you absolutely have to have the dreams.
Yep.
Otherwise, why get out of bed in the morning? It
Exactly.
drives you.
Yep.
The goals are the exact numbers and time frame of those dreams.
Yep.
And I don't think, I wholeheartedly believe this. I don't think you can grow or be successful without some type of goal. Because a goal is basically like a mile marker to know that you are moving forward.
Okay.
And not only is it successful and important to have these goals, but it's also going to show you a roadmap of how much you've grown and how much you've done. Any video game player out there will always tell you, like, games with experience, you feel like you're actually gaining a level.
Yeah.
You know, when you gain a level, you get a new ability, you get
Yeah.
a new prospect, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. Like, you are literally hitting a goal and you're being rewarded for it.
Yeah. I remember a few years, more than a few years back, one of my goals was to actually book a wedding that's like $10,000. I wanted to book a $10,000 wedding. That seemed like such a magic number. And since we became business partners, I
Right.
actually booked a $10,000 wedding thanks to you. So
Absolutely.
I'm super. By the way, I think we need to tell people that I'm also the photographer for For Love Films, because we didn't mention that. So
That is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So through For Love Films, I have booked a $10,000 wedding, and I feel like I've met my goal of that,
Right.
you know, and somehow it's like, okay, now it's like I felt more relaxed, like I can breathe. Like that was like a hurdle almost
Okay.
that I overcame, you know, and it seemed so unattainable when I was first starting out
Right,
booking weddings,
right.
you know, because like when I first started, I was like charging $50 an hour, and I'm like, cool, this is so much money, you know?
And you think about it like an employee. You think about it,
Yes.
I'm making $50 an hour.
Yes, but once you taught me to switch my mindset to a business person, when I take account the emails and the equipment, like my cameras are literally falling apart. I need new cameras
Right.
now, and the maintenance and the education
Right.
and the rent for my studio and everything. It's like once you made me break it down, you know, it's like, oh, I'm making $14.75 an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
If-
not acceptable.
And we'll do a whole video on that.
Yeah, so
I think
separately.
I think that topic right there is
Yep.
so important for every
Huge.
business person out there. But you brought up a very good point. Let's go down the path of Angel Eyes Photography.
Okay.
How you started, where you went, branding wise and marketing wise, and like you are trying to hit all these different avenues
Yes.
through the same brand.
Yes, I think I was taking on too many projects, and like I said yes to everything. It's like, yes, I'm a photographer, I can do all these things.
Yeah.
But I was spreading myself too thin. And
Yeah.
when it came to, you know, COVID and rebranding and pivoting, like we talked about, then I decided that it's like weddings I still love. I want to shoot weddings, but I'm kind of pulling back from weddings a little bit, not only because I'm just being more selective now, and I know the type of weddings I want to do. I want to work with people that I love and adore, and not just like, oh, it's a big payday.
Right.
And I've actually turned down weddings, you know, like, thank God I'm at the point in my career where it's like, I actually didn't like, I'm not going to say names, but I disliked one of the vendors that
Oh.
a potential client had.
Right.
Like, it was a band, I'll say that much. I dislike this band so much. Not the band itself, because
okay.
the music's great. Okay, the music's great. I just, something about the way they run their business
Yeah,
rubbed
yeah.
me in such a wrong way that I actually turned down a very, very big paycheck.
Right.
Because I decided that I don't want my brand associated with them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just, because I had a bad experience, and I said, no, thank you. So now I feel like I'm at a point in my career where I can be more selective, and I could say yes or no to this wedding. I don't have to take it to pay the bills.
Right.
So I'm super grateful for that. And I decided that branching off into like pushing more boudoir and more corporate work through EO7 and being more selective, it actually makes me a lot happier and a lot less stressed out.
Right.
So, but you had to go through all the crap first
Why
to get
do
to
you
that
think
point.
you're not so stressed out by focusing more specifically rather than the wide range of possible work you could get?
Because I felt like I had to do the babies and do the maternity and do the headshots and do the seniors and do the weddings and I had to say yes to everything to pay the bills. And once I decided that I'm going to focus on a few things that I truly enjoy, I still could pay the bills, but now I was a lot happier.
Yeah.
So, but I think you do have to put in the work ahead of time.
Absolutely.
You can't just oh, this is year one, I'm going to be selective. Unless you have some cushion that you can fall back on, but most people don't, they have to, pay the bills. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun for the family. So.
And I think that's something that's really important that we need to say, or, at least so you need to hear it. You just need to hear it.
Yeah.
Is that it's okay to take jobs. It's okay to take jobs you don't want to.
100%.
Not everyone just gets to choose whatever job they want. And we don't really always either. I mean,
depending on where you are with the money
totally
situation.
depends.
Like, I know that sometimes you're like, well, this is not going well,
Right.
but, it's a really nice paycheck, so I'm going to, stick it out, But when you're done with that job, boy, are you relieved,
I mean, that sounds worse than it actually is.
I
but
know.
yes, you get the mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I think there's such a dichotomy between I love what I do and I want to work with just the projects I want to work with, and I have to do these kind of projects because it's what's in line with my brand identity.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
bring in the money. That's the only way you're going to grow your business. Truth be told, and if you're not growing, you're in slow motion liquidation.
Ooh.
It's one of my mantras.
That's
I have it
really
on
good.
my wall. I listen to it. I look at that every day, and you need to push yourself to grow.
Well, what does that mean to you? Break it down. If you're not growing, you're in slow motion liquidation. What does that mean to
So
you?
if you're not growing, that means you're stagnant.
Okay.
Okay, that means you're not moving. You're not moving forward. Growth happens when you stress a muscle, when you push something, when you move. Okay, physical, mental, intellectual does not grow without pushing it.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep.
So once you push it and you grow from it, you're that much better. You have a wider berth of knowledge, of skill sets, of whatever. But if you are not pushing that muscle, if you don't get up and walk every day, your muscles will atrophy. You will not be able to walk, and you are slowly dying.
That is a fact.
Like I can't tell you how many times I told my dad, it's like, get up and walk. Take a walk. Get up and get out of the house. And for years, he was like, no, I'm not going to walk. It's dumb. I'm just going to sit here. And then he found golf. And my favorite story about this, and I will promise I'll get back on target, but he lost a massive amount of weight last year. And he went to the doctor. He goes, Doc, like something's wrong with me. Like I don't know if I have a bug or like something, like cancer's back or something like that. Something very bad is going on. I've lost like 40 pounds. My dad does not have 40 pounds to lose.
I never saw your dad as heavy though.
Yeah. And the doctor's like, well, have you been exercising? And my dad's like, no, I would never exercise. I'm too old for that shit. And he goes, well, what have you been doing? He was like, well, the same shit I do every day. I wake up, I watch TV, I golf, I play with my cats. And he goes, well, how often are you golfing? He's like, well, 7 days a week. And the doctor says, well, are you doing one round? He goes, no, minimum 4 rounds per day, 7 days a week. And the doctor just shut his thing and says, go home.
That's why he was losing weight.
That's why he was losing weight,
active.
because he was being active.
But he didn't think of it
But he
as
didn't
like
think of it,
exercise
'cause he
because
thought
it
it
was
was
fun. Yeah.
So as you grow, it can be fun. Growing is fun.
Yes.
Learning about this stuff is awesome.
Yes.
But you need to grow.
Yes.
So you've been growing since you first started, because you started off doing babies.
Yes.
Like only.
I never wanted to do weddings. Like weddings just kind of got dropped in my lap, So I said, no, thank you. It's too stressful, but it just happened.
So when you created your logo, what did you have in mind for your brand?
Can I be honest? Literally nothing.
Really?
I just needed a logo. So I don't know how I got recommended. I had no idea about branding or anything. All I knew is that I had a name for my company and I knew I needed a logo. So I just reached out to somebody that I could afford at the time, let's be honest. And they sent me some options and I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go with this after I asked my friend which one she likes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
I don't recommend that. Don't do that. Yeah.
also, I personally, this is a personal thing. I think a logo should also speak to the brand,
Yes.
or to what you do.
Yes.
You know, like that's a whole different subject
Yes.
about color and branding.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I knew colors. I knew I wanted something red in it.
Why
you know.
red? Because red speaks passion.
Red
or
is
energy?
passion, and red is love, and red's always been like a bright, fun color for me. And it's like I guess growing up in Eastern Europe, like red was a thing.
Oh,
yeah, like red and white are like very big Hungarian colors. Yeah, red, white, and green are Hungarian colors. But red and white was like always in like whatever decoration my grandma had, and my dad loved red, and my mother always bought me red outfits and whatever. Like red was like a very like.
Really?
It's red, it's cool, so that was just like a thing. I'm like, okay, red is eye-catching, so I knew I wanted something red. And what goes with red? Well, like neutral colors. So then I stuck with like gray, white, and black and red. So red's like the main color, and then some neutral colors to balance it out. That was my only request.
So you've kept this logo since what? 2009? Wait, when did you start?
Oh my God. When Eric was 6. So
Your son?
Now I'm on my 18th year, so I don't know what.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So that's even longer. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you've kept the same logo the whole time. Why have you not rebranded, even though you know the difference of marketing?
To be honest, because one, I'm lazy and I always take the easy way out, which is not a good excuse. And two, because I don't know what direction I want to go in with a new brand. So when EO7 kind of came up, I'm like, great, I like this plan. Let's go with that. And also just because I didn't rebrand, it doesn't mean that I'm not changing the direction of my business. So I'm still like, I started changing my website around a little bit where it's like I started showing more boudoir and more portrait work and less weddings. Because when I first started, it was like 4 pages of weddings,
Right.
and like very little anything else, because that was my main thing. So as I started kind of thinking about where my passion is in the moment, I just started kind of what is it called when you rehone something, like you refocus, cultivate like different things. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a photo that I would have never put up before, but now it's like I feel like I'm brave enough now to show the work that speaks to me, and I'm hoping that the clients who see my work, it'll speak to them as well. So I'm like, yes, I'm going to have a naked woman on my website, like even though her nipples are photoshopped out, but I was never brave enough to do something like that, but now I have a naked woman on there because why not? Naked women are beautiful, and I'm not afraid to scare away people who don't like it, so, but you have to get there in order, like that's not something I could do year one.
Right.
Obviously. I had to put in the time and to be honest, grow enough balls to do it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's okay if they don't like me because there's a naked woman on my website. That's not the client for me. Anybody that's turned off by the naked, beautiful female body, I don't want to work with them, to be honest,
Yeah. What you and I talked about this years ago. It's called gatekeeping.
Okay.
Or a gatekeeper on a website.
Yeah, like a gatekeeping image. Yeah.
Basically. So like a lot of sites will do like a splash page, like before you enter a website. If this photo is not your thing, we're not the right fit.
Exactly. Like I know a lot of photographers that I admire. Like there's like they very prominently feature gay weddings. So it's like if you're turned off by that, nope. Don't even contact me. So that kind of just weeds out all the people you don't want to deal with.
Which is great.
It is great.
And that's like putting your price up on your website. Hopefully that'll like weed out the people who don't want to pay that or don't see the value in that. And
or can't afford it.
Or can't afford it.
Absolutely.
So as you're moving along, understanding the need for splitting up the business, do you see a future where you do rebrand or split up? Because right now you said that you're trying to not focus on weddings so much. You're focusing more on portrait and boudoir. Do you think it would be advantageous to have a brand that was just boudoir, just portrait, and just whatever else? Like, I know you and I work together for corporate, but do you want a side corporate business as well?
No, I don't want a side corporate business. I like working corporate with you, but I think I would want a side something else that might be boudoir, couple, like more risque. Like, I am thinking about branching off into a new website, and when it comes to couples intimate photography or just, intimate photography for one, just something a little bit more risque that wouldn't be so prominent, or it might be a little bit too much for my Angelized Photography brand. So I'm definitely heading in that direction, yes.
So once you start doing that, what do you think your first steps are going to be? Like, if you had to start labeling out your to-do list now by splitting up the companies, what would be the first 5 things that you would really want to focus on?
Okay, so I already have the website name. That's what I would do. I would...
So, I mean, would that be the company name then too?
The company name...
Hilda Burke Photography?
No, it would just be hildaburke.com.
Oh, okay.
So then I could...
Oh, that's kind of like I can't really think of anything that's not like, because I was going to say Allie Madison or whatever that one is, but...
Yeah,
the cheating website.
Yes, exactly. Gee, thanks for tying that into...
Yeah, I wasn't trying to. I really wasn't trying to.
No.
I feel like an ass for even bringing it up.
AshleyMadison.com. That's what it is, yeah.
But having a name like that, then it's basic. Oh God,
it's not very defined. It's not like photography.
Yes.
So if I decide to do video or something like that, like couples intimate video, then it doesn't have to be photography. So it's just hildaburke.com, whatever I choose it to be. And I think that would to me would be every single photo that's on that website is like I would be like, that's me. That's my signature brand. This is the thing that I love more than anything.
My signature brand.
Yeah.
And I think, oh God, okay, we're after the show, you and I are just gonna go down this path because I have ideas for you.
Yeah. So
I want to pitch session you.
That's funny. But I do need a new logo for that.
Right.
I do need a new website for that.
Okay.
Maybe some sections of the website might be password protected, because
it's clever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've already thought about how I'm going to market this. Because
how would you market it? I mean, not full out, but just give us a hint.
I would probably be more active on private forums versus trying to put it out there because I can't advertise it on Instagram if there's nipples or butts, because Instagram's very strict. Can't do that on Facebook either.
Would you advertise censored versions of them, or would that dilute the
No,
brand?
I would kind of just to give it a little tease or something. And I've done that before because I've shot intimate couples before, and I literally had to put a censor button over somebody's butt crack, which is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm happy to follow Instagram's guidelines at the same time. Once you go to my website, you'll see whatever you're going to see.
Everything else, yeah. That's your decision to be there.
So then I thought about maybe I should go on Discord, or maybe I should advertise on OnlyFans or something that's a little bit more, not Instagram. You know what I mean? So I haven't... Target market, yes, because I want to see my couples, where are they? What do they do? How do they, I've browsed around on Reddit, and Reddit has forums about intimate photography. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's more it's more from the OnlyFans, and it's click to pay here. But I'm like, if OnlyFans can be on Reddit talking about whatever, come and buy it. I'm like, I could be like, hey, I also do photography.
Hey, by the way.
Exactly. Come and find me. And actually, I did have a few people actually hit me up on Reddit about, do you do this? So, I mean, we've chatted. So, I mean, the potential's there. I just have to explore it. I haven't had time since you kept me busy with EO7 Media.
So that brings us full circle. Hilda, thank you so much for sitting down with me today to talk about this. I'm actually crazy excited to see where you're going to go with this.
Me too.
With everything that we're learning and everything we're trying to educate, I think it would be really interesting to try to use your business as an example as we maybe I could help you build it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we can start building it and be like, here's what we're doing now.
Yeah, follow my progress and yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. Let's see how smart you are.
Oh, that's debatable. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time today. If you have any questions, or we would love to hear your own stories about your brand and what you did to design your brand and how you marketed it. And if you found a market where you had to split your brand up to rebrand, or just had to rebrand your market as, rebrand to better serve your market, what did you do? We would love to hear your comments down in the bottom, and we read every single comment. So
ask us questions down below. Jaysin will answer them because I won't.
I am all about the answering.
Do we clink at the end too?
No, we never clink at the end.
But I didn't say clink this time, did I? Clink!